How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 2. We're sort of getting our recap on this whole curse business because, yes, it has been quite a while, at least for me. So, kind of relearning the events that have occurred up to this point, that people are blaming on this curse, on the events that have occurred that have startled Oyashiro-sama or whatever. That's sort of what's going on, just getting that whole recap here. I think we're talking about the second or third victim? I'm not really sure, I can't remember. But regardless, let's jump back in and update on my whole hand injury. I am able to grip the mouse a lot better, more naturally now, so I think I can actually avoid all the accidental right clicks, but no promises. So at that time, someone else vanished. Yeah, we're talking about someone dies, someone disappears. Yeehaw.
北条聡君っていう私と同い年の男の子です。
Oh, wait a minute. I remember that name.
殺された主婦の義理の甥にあたります。
Shion cut in with a slightly strong tone of voice. She knew the boy who had disappeared pretty well, at least that's the vibe I was getting. Oh, God damn it. Well, you know what? As soon as I start speaking about, not doing the accidental right clicks, I do one.
必ず一人が死んで、必ず一人が忽然と消える。
Leaving the suddenness aside, the fact that each incident involved one person disappearing.
じゃあ、つまり、一人目が死ぬのはお社様のたたりで、二人目が失踪するのは村人が生贄に捧げてるからだって言うんですか？
ケイちゃん、たたりなんかないです。誰かがお社様のたたりという名で一人目を殺し、誰かがその生贄として二人目をさらってるんです。
でもシオン、それじゃあ村の中に犯人がいるってことになるんだぞ。
私は初めからそう睨んでます。結構ショックですよ。この昭和の時代にそんな古い因習で人殺しが堂々と行われるなんて。
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you think about it like that. It didn't have anything to do with our discussion, but I got the feeling that maybe Shion didn't like Hinamizawa very much. No, she's very, I don't know how you could describe it, very opposite of Mion and the other villagers, though she still stands with the villagers of Hinamizawa, it sort of seems. Mion enjoyed talking about Hinamizawa and its epic tales, so she had avoided talking about Oyashiro-sama's curse, which didn't paint Hinamizawa in a good light no matter how you looked at it. She was trying not to give me a bad impression of the village, so she didn't say anything. Shion, on the other hand, was somehow different. She wasn't rejecting the concept of a curse to purge Hinamizawa of its bad impression, but rather because she strongly believed that a member of the village was the criminal behind this. Her conviction seemed a bit removed from the tight sense of community held by the people of Hinamizawa. Once upon a time, they looked so alike you could mistake one for the other. But talking to her now, I was getting a powerful feeling that Shion had a completely different personality than Mion.
じゃあ皆さんはHinamizawaの誰かが犯人だと思ってるんですね。
Neither Shion nor Takano-san answered that. The deafening silence told me all that needed to be said.
じゃあ重ねて質問します。Hinamizawaの誰かが犯人なら、犯人は誰なんですか？
That is the dumbest question. How the fuck would they know? Neither Shion nor Takano-san had a reply to that question either. Though it may have been rude to ask, I had hoped they wouldn't have one. The reason I asked was to argue that their explanation that the culprit was from Hinamizawa was nothing more than one possibility. Shion caught onto my plan. She gave me a pained smile at my petty spite and opened her mouth to speak.
私が言ったのは所詮状況証拠ですからね。具体的に犯人の名前を知ってたなら警察に突き出してます。
As would anybody. Then what about Takano-san? She too smiled dryly as Shion had and opened her own mouth.
初めに誤解を解いておきたいんだけど、別に私は探偵さんのつもりはないのよ。 本音を言うとね、犯人が誰かなんてことには興味ないの。
高野さんも困った人だな。
Tomatake-san gives a bitter laugh, excuse me, at her surprising opinion on the matter.
私はね、古式ゆかしい残酷な風習やおとぎ話に興味があるだけ。知的好奇心で面白がってるだけなの。だから一連の事件も犯人は誰かってことよりも、事件の存在自体が古い因習がまだ根深く残ってることの証拠だって思って面白がってるくらい。
Though she described herself as nothing more than a curious onlooker, her smile was as sharp as the tip of a blade. Women like her felt very strange and a little scary to me. Maybe it's just that I was in fearful awe of the person whose emotions I couldn't comprehend.
ま、私は全然面白くないですけどね。明日はいよいよ綿流しのお祭りですけど、誰にも死んでほしくないし、誰も消えてほしくないです。
明日か。
That's right. It had completely slipped my mind. The string of murder incidents people attributed to Yashiro-sama's curse, it wasn't over. If last year's incident wasn't the end, then tomorrow night at the festival, would someone die and someone disappear?
明日は一体誰が死んで誰が消えるのかしらね。
Sorry, I'm like not trying to do that on purpose. It's just the feeling in my fingers isn't completely there yet. My hand is still swollen and all that, so it's tough, man. It's tough. Takano-san said, running a comb through her hair with elegant movements, with a thin smile and a voice that nearly made me shudder. She almost looked like she was enjoying the thought of the incidents that could happen tomorrow. And then out of the blue, we heard a loud round of applause, and they seemed to be ending the drinking party early. Right, I was making Mion wait this whole time, wasn't I? I should go back to her soon.
高野さんもからかいすぎだよ。圭一君がすっかり真に受けてしまったじゃないか。
ごめんなさいね。また悪い癖が出ちゃったみたい。
I mean, we're gonna believe it's true whenever we hear of another death going on here, said Takano-san, sticking out her tongue bashfully. The strangeness in her expression was nowhere to be found.
高野さんはね、純粋そうな子を見るとからかいたくなる悪い癖があるんだよ。圭一君が真剣に聞いてくれるもんだから、ついつい調子に乗っちゃったみたいなんだ。
Unlike Takano-san, Tomatake-san seemed like a totally normal person with common sense. They were apologizing after realizing what kind of impression they'd given me.
高野さんが今した話はあくまでもフィクションだからね。もしもさっきの話で圭一君がHinamizawaに持ってたいい印象が傷つけられてしまったなら、純粋に申し訳なく思うよ。
もう二郎さんたら。
高野さんも謝った方がいい。怖がらせてしまってごめんなさいってね。
Takano-san and Tomatake-san were arguing and messing around now. The strained air around us had already dissipated. And what of Shion?
ケイちゃんもそろそろ戻った方がいいです。
Okay.
お姉は嫉妬深いですからね。私は顔を合わせると喧嘩になりそうだから、このまま帰ることにします。
そうなのか？じゃあ俺はミオンのとこに戻って待たせたことを謝るかな。
迷惑をかけたね、圭一君。ミオンちゃんに圭一君を長く借りすぎて申し訳ないと伝えてくれないかな。
あ、はい。伝えても機嫌は直さないと思いますけど、一応。
Tomatake-san and Takano-san, standing next to each other, both began to chuckle.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。明日のお祭り、どこかですれ違えるといいですね。
会えるよ。どうせ俺たちのことだ。賑やかにやってるに決まってる。
Shion and I said our goodbyes to Tomatake-san and Takano-san. Before we could leave, Takano-san called out to us.
私の話を真剣に聞いてくれてありがとうね。前原くんがあまりに聞き上手だったんで、話しててとても楽しかったわ。
聞き上手なんて、そんな。
I know I'm not. I was just in a state of perpetual bewilderment from all the shocking topics being thrown at me one after another.
今日した話、面白かった？
No.
まあ、興味深かったです。
It was scary.
なら、また今度も聞いてくれる？
Yeah, if you're alive.
ひなみざわの昔話とかおとぎ話にも興味深いものがたくさんあるの。もちろん薄気味悪いのがたくさんね。私特選のをたくさん披露するわよ。
I was kind of happy, but kind of worried. I can't help but smile dryly and scratch at my head.
ケイチ君、もう行ってもいいんだよ。高野さんがからかっているだけさ。
They say goodbye again and run off. I heard Tomitake-san call out behind him in a clear voice that we would see each other at the festival tomorrow. Oh, I hope. When I went to the tent Mion was waiting for me in, she was nowhere to be found. I made her wait so long, maybe she got mad and went home. After asking some adults passing by, I heard that she went home, talking to some relatives. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But my regret for having made Mion wait wasn't enough to triumph over the impression Takano-san and Shion's uncanny story left on me. Serial murder incidents had happened 4 years in a row. Would tomorrow's events make this the 5th? And the possibility that someone from Hinamizawa was carrying this all out under the guise of the curse? The queer tradition of ritual sacrifice, entirely unbecoming of the Shouwa period we lived in. I regretted it a little, though it was too late. If none of those creepy stories had anything to do with me, then I should have let Mion pull me away from that crowd. I felt a little ashamed about letting my cheap curiosity get the better of me. Hey, you know what they say, curiosity killed the cat, as it kinda did in the first chapter. Do you all remember when Keiichi died? Because I do. Curiosity really killed him. And I kind of don't blame his curiosity. Holy fucking shit. I guess the rest of this episode is just reading or going through these tips. That seems to be all we're going to do here. Before we jump into the tips, though, I want to make a prediction. I predict that the deaths this time around, or I guess the death and disappearance, will not be the same as in Chapter 1, where it was Tomitake as the death and Takano as the disappearance. I believe that Shion will somehow be involved. They're going to mix it up on me, which is entirely fine. I like things being a little different, you know? It'll get different spin on the whole story here. We get different information, new information, and a little bit of a twist on the story. Such as that kid who disappeared. We kind of came to that assumption in Chapter 1, but here we're being told that that's what happened. Yeehaw, brothers, yeehaw. From the Scrapbook 1. What is going on here? Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the ancient Onigafuchi village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere what eventually happens, and what sort of divine judgment or curse befalls them when Oyashiro-sama is angry. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The ones evoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, hell, and it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. The conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in Onigafuchi village. I believe that when an act was performed that violates one of these taboos, Oyashiro-sama was termed angry, and in order to quell his anger, they would perform the aforementioned sacrificial ritual. Yeah, it's kind of what we were just told, but yeah. That is some really warm soda. I wish I didn't drink that just now. Okay, so Scrapbook 2. Not really sure why we didn't just have this all in one thing. The human sacrifice ritual. The sacrificial ritual was a simple drowning involving plunging sacrifices into Onegafuchi swamp, which was considered hallowed. Of the rituals of Onegafuchi village, this one was unique in that the sacrifice would sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and 3 nights. I believe that it wasn't so much the killing of the sacrifice that was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of Oyashiro-sama's anger. For that purpose, they must have had a passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, to force them to sink more slowly. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a raft, and then set up a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up with ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. However, if that were the case, it would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere. Yeah, wouldn't that be a little easier to see or come across? I think that would, I think that is a little too far-fetched, but I do wonder how that whole process, how you can go about that whole process, you know? It's a little weird. Implements used for the ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements, and even now some of them are enshrined on the property of Furude Shrine and the 3 families. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in rituals governing the dark side of Onegafuchi village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were lost, they were lost as well. Or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. And both the implements used on the night of the feast of Onikakushi and those used during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist, enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt, they exist here, today, at this very moment in Hinamizawa. Also, I'm nearly certain that they've been enshrined. What was once locked steadfastly has, for some reason, changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is it ever far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizawa is coming soon. Soon it will be Watanagashi. Yeah. We're almost there. So, I wonder whose scrapbook pages these were. Was it the detective? Maybe. Festival's around the corner. Looks like we're going to the school here. Yep. The music kind of identifies that one.
Oi. God
damn it. Sorry.
明日は最後の最後。バッチリ深夜まで燃え上がっていくんだからな。よっせ、気合い入れてきますぜ。よし、若さが一番だ。みんなお疲れさん。
Okay, yeah, this is not the school. Never mind.
今夜は早めに眠って体力を蓄えておいてくれよ。
Tomorrow was finally Watanagashi. Festivals are split into 2 groups, those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans and preliminary arrangements. And while the general majority attending goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, will be strained the whole way through. Why?
そりゃ決まってるだろう。全部終わった後のビールがうまいからだよ。
Haha. Yeah, funny. At times like these, it's best to have energetic, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you didn't do your best until the end, enjoying it the whole way.
来ました。
Ueshi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up.
はい皆さんお疲れ様ですね。そのままで結構ですよ。
お疲れ様です。
Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Ueshi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. I have no idea how to pronounce his first name. Holy shit. Kurado? Yeah, why not? That sounds totally wrong. A detective just waiting to retire, one who doesn't pay much mind to rules and regulations and doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man with a penchant for dirty jokes. My seniors, though, tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days, and that he may or may not have quite a heroic legend trailing behind him. Anyway, he surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came in with him.
皆さん、明日のWatanagashiの準備、本当にお疲れさんです。
Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions.
昨年発生したように、連続事件を期待する愉快犯の出現が濃厚に危惧されます。各員、一層気を引き締め、犯罪の抑止のために任務を全うしてください。
おっせ！
何も起こらなければ一番いいんですがね。必ず事件は起こると考えてくださいよ。抑止が一番ですが、まあ多分無理でしょう。今年も誰かが死んで誰かが消えます。もう間違いなく。
Everyone apart from the section chief smiled painfully.
大井さん、そんなんじゃ困るよ。もっと真剣にやってくれなきゃ。
肝心なのは祭りの夜を越すことじゃないんです。明日の夜起こった何かに迅速かつ徹底的にどこまでも食いついていくこと。気合い入れてくよ。兜の尾を引き締めてき。お社様のたたりの化けの皮を完璧にひっぺかしてやるぞ。
Yeah, go get that ass. Or whatever. It's interesting that we're kind of seeing a different side of things here because obviously we didn't know that somebody was going to die coming up to the festival in Chapter 1. Now we obviously do because we went through Chapter 1, but so does Keiichi. Keiichi knows because he was literally just told.
本当に伝えたいのは
Uh-oh.
違う言葉だった。本当に感じたいのは違う心だった。すれ違いが溝を生み、ためらいの気持ちが人を恐怖へと沈ませる。もう誰も止められない。冷たい感情がむき出しの心を深く残酷にえぐってゆく。綿流し。なぜあの時とつぶやく後悔の言葉。それはもはや虚しい響きだった。
Well, that was something. Didn't we get something like that in the beginning of Chapter 1? And now we're just finally getting that here for Chapter 2. So all of that in a way was kind of like a prologue. Whatever.
ケイチくんだ。おはようなんだよ。だよ。
Also, I'm pretty sure that was Mion talking, just in a soft voice. I'm pretty sure that was her. Rena was ecstatically waving her arms at me, already brimming with energy.
おはようって、もう夕方だぜ。
Yeah, wait a minute.
こんにちは、だろ。
でも、今日ケイチくんにする最初の挨拶だから、やっぱりおはようがいいな。いいな。
わかったわかった。じゃあ、おはようでいい。おはよう、レナ。
I grabbed Rena's head and rubbed it with my hand. She squirmed, reveling in the motion like a cat.
やっほー、ケイちゃん。昨日は申し訳なかったね。黙って帰っちゃってさ。
ああ、それを言うなら俺の方が悪かった。ミオをずっと待たせっぱなしでごめんな。
昨日のお祭りの準備のことかな。どうだったケイチくん。しっかりとお仕事してた？
The slight muscle pain throughout my body and my sluggish movements were already obvious.
頑張ってたよ。へばってたけどね。
I grinned dryly and the three of us break out into laughter.
サトコとリカちゃんは祭り会場で合流か？
うん。リカちゃんはほら、大切なお勤めがあるから昨日からずっと。サトコちゃんもそのお供だそうだから もう二人とも神社にいるよ。
Right, I just remembered. Today was Rika-chan's big performance. She'd been practicing especially hard for this day. As her friend, I needed to make sure I went and cheered her on.
よっしゃ、早速行こうぜ。
Yeah, let's go get that ass. Actually, wait a minute. Let's not use that in this context. All right, we'll wrap it up here. I know it's a little early, but I'll make the next episode longer or some shit. I'm gonna save it here. I'm tired of going to the second page every time. All right, so the festival has arrived. The Watanagashi. Did I say that right? I wanna say that I'm saying it right. I think I flipped 2 syllables around in chapter 1. Maybe I said like Watanagashi, which is, yeah, I think that's what I used to say. So now I'm always questioning whether I'm saying this even remotely correct. So I have that predicament that's going to carry with me through the rest of these playthroughs, but thank you all for watching. I cannot wait for the next episode and the episodes to follow because we're pretty much here into the crazy stuff. Or at least we're right there, like almost there, into the stuff that really fucking makes these games, man. Or at least what really made chapter 1, holy shit. So I'm really excited for that. I hope you guys are as well. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.